Alright everyone, we start off today with shenanigans, the Signature Bank shuffle. I hate to say that I was right in my prediction here. You'll remember, of course, as soon as Signature Bank failed several days ago, I pointed out that I was seeing a pattern where these banks are related to crypto and like tech startups. And I put two and two together and I said, I don't think that that's at random. And I don't think, because Signature Bank had not clearly failed at all, the fact that the FDIC came in anyway and effectively took over the bank is a form of nationalization, number one, which is concerning. We've learned nothing from the 2008 disaster and debacle. That's number one. And number two, it was an attack on crypto. Now, we were assured the other day by U.S. regulators that the takeover of Signature had nothing to do with cryptocurrency. Barney Frank, of course, himself, again, for the 10 people out there that don't know who that is, go ahead and Google him, strenuously and vigorously insisting that, yeah, it's because of crypto. They came in and they took over our bank because they're pissed at crypto, basically. They want a central bank-issued digital currency. They've been moving towards this for years. And the current wave of banking scandals and problems partially is an attack on cryptocurrency. Now, we have proof that unfortunately that prediction is true, and that is part of what they're doing. It's not the complete story. Of course, Silicon Valley Bank did actually fail, did actually need to get, taken by the FDIC. Of course, they're screwing investors right now. We'll see what happens. You do have a wave of extreme falls in the value of a lot of banks around the world right now. Credit Suisse the other day, and others as well. The U.S. banking sector taking another hammering. But now we find out that in order to take over Signature Bank, so other banks are going to put in bids and say, well, we want it, we're going to gobble it up. The employees just get a new shirt, basically. One of the stipulations is no crypto, which is interesting. I thought the takeover had nothing to do with crypto, so why are you worried about that aspect of the portfolio held by Signature Bank? Now, it is outsized. This is something like 20-25% of what they hold. If that wasn't the reason why you swooped in, declaring them to be insolvent again, there are people that oppose that concept. They say, no, we've lost money, but we haven't collapsed or anything like that. We can make payroll, etc., for the people depositing here. Why is it that stipulation exists? So if a bank holds a bit of crypto, they're not allowed to bid on Signature Bank. So I guess the idea is to water down that as a holding. So a bank that doesn't dabble in crypto can take them over. The crypto's still there, like the investment doesn't magically go away. It doesn't force them to divest that portion, although over time a bank that doesn't hold crypto is probably, presumptively going to do that. That they'll probably sell it off to other people. That investment will dry up. I think that's the point. Why would that stipulation exist? So let's say a bank holds Bitcoin, but it's like 2% or something. Apparently they're not allowed to take over Signature. That's because they don't want a crypto-friendly bank taking over Signature. They don't want crypto. They want crypto to dry up, die, and go the way of the dinosaur so that they can replace cryptocurrency with something they can more easily control. That is part of what is happening here. I now declare that objectively. We are being lied to when the government and the regulators say that it has nothing to do with cryptocurrency. Again, they have not provided ample enough evidence that Signature Bank needed to be taken over in the first place. By adding the stipulation, they are tipping their hand. We can see clearly what they're doing. I got several tips about this, of course, since I talk about crypto some. Quite a few people that hold crypto, etc., follow the material. CoinDesk and others are talking about this. Link in the description, archived, of course, for the whole write-up. Again, it was just a matter of putting two and two together. I knew that this, or something like this, was likely to happen. Silvergate was heavily into crypto. Silicon Valley Bank dabbled in it, but it mainly was tech startups, but crypto is associated with that same sort of schema. And then Signature Bank as well. And what I said is quite simple. If you have 3 murders in the same general region in one day, and the victims are all of the same race, the same age range, the same gender, etc., you start to investigate whether there's a serial killer on the loose. You don't assume that these are random murders. The public generally realizes, hey, something terribly wrong is going on here. And if you fit that description, you start to worry, now don't you? Hey, all of these victims are black females around the age of 30. Oh shit, I'm a black female and I'm 29 years old. I better not go out tonight. You start to think like that. If I was in investing or banking or something and I held crypto, I do have crypto, but of course it's not in a bank or something like that, I would begin to get nervous. Now, does this kill off crypto? I don't think so. If anything, it compacts it more and drives the value up potentially. It's getting more attention. People are going to start to ask questions like, hey, why did this bank get taken over? Because they're saying they didn't need to take over. They never declared that they were insolvent. The FDIC just decided to steal the bank, effectively, to take it over and hand it to another bank that contractually is not a crypto-related bank. So it's going to be something that didn't invest in cryptocurrency. Again, we'll put two and two together and predict what happens next. The subsequent bank is going to liquidate those crypto holdings. The crypto investment will go bye-bye. They won't be invested in a crypto exchange or something like that. It won't be part of the portfolio anymore. They will divest themselves of it. Because the bank not being related to crypto at all, when a lot of banks are, at least to a mild extent, would show that that bank is crypto averse. Those are the only buyers that they want, so they'll get what they want. You have just seen, effectively, a quasi-nationalization of the banking sector, partially to attack cryptocurrency, partially to do and that in part just to move towards a centralized digital currency. They've been talking about it for years. The foreshock of this was something like 5-6 years ago when LibraCoin was developed by Facebook, or was going to be developed, as a mainline coin that would be tied to, well, now Meta, but then Facebook, Insta, and so forth. Zuckerberg piloted that concept. The laundry list of corporations that signed on initially is in the many trillions of dollars range. There were plenty of investors and backers for it, larger than most world fucking economies. It could have been pulled off easily. The government insinuated it was a bad idea, and half of the investors fled, and then the plan collapsed completely because it wouldn't have been solvent. Zuckerberg not getting his way. It's not because they didn't like the idea. It's because the central government and the regulators they work with and go snort coke lines with wanted to control it directly as opposed to indirectly. By having a company engaged in it, you have to deal with the fact that the company does have some latitude and say over what's happening, over operations, over what the coin is valued at, over what they do with regards to investment. It's actually more stable than having a completely centralized digital currency, but it's less controllable. It's less trackable. The company could go rogue. Somebody could take over the company and say, no, we're not going to disclose all this shit at all. Fuck it. The SEC and the FDIC and the government itself and the Fed and all these other groups just wanted more fiscal control. So they're attacking crypto. Because crypto has given too many people too much privacy and upward mobility. It's become a problem for them. They identified the problem years ago. They had to wait for a good moment and a fitting puppet in the White House in order to pull this off. This is partially inorganic, and it's partially organic too. I'll explain. The fact that SVB collapsed is not that the government didn't step in and force it to happen. Effectively, they're taking lemons and making lemonade right now. The Fed hiked interest rates because of Bidenflation, which is still there. They had no choice. Biden is largely blaming them, partially blaming Trump for the current crisis. That made SVB insolvent. They took a situation in which they're like, oh shit, well, several $100 billion of wealth have to be secured now, and we're going to have to do some shenanigans on paper, some fuzzy math in order to make this one work and not collapse the banking sector. I don't think that they want that, although their investors do. But then they just branch out a little bit further. They say, well, this bank that went under, it's really hazarding crypto. Strike while the iron's hot. We're going to go for the jugular now. There's this other bank. It's lost quite a bit on paper. We'll take it over. And we'll make sure that the bank that comes after, that gobbles it up, divests the crypto. Because that's really the reason they're going after this fucking bank. I stated objectively I was correct. I wish that I wasn't. That's about all. Peace out.